Nasdaq 100, the S&P 500. Now we can see here, this is our daily chart. We're clearly trending to the upside, right? We go into the 2 hour. We had an overall pretty strong day on Nasdaq where we pushed into, 18,165 and ended up pulling back off of our key level, as you can see. But things got a little bit interesting. We had Powell talking before Congress, and that went well. Congress, that went as good as it could go. But then things got weird near the end of the day. We started seeing some downside happen around noon and pushing us, obviously here to the downside. Going into effect with ES and Dow, right? Dow taking most of the heat and getting less love to the upside. Now, this is where things get even more interesting. Fed Kashkari came out today and he spoke at the end of the day and he said some wild things. He said he sees at most 2 rate cuts this year, possibly even 1. But the thing that interested me the most, and this is from our newsbot in Discord, is he came out and said this. Inflation seems to be more entrenched than we may first think. The first thing the Fed would do is hold for longer. Now, the statement's interesting, and I don't know why no one's talking about it. Because he essentially said that inflation is entrenched. The words that the Fed has refused to say. And that's really bad overall if that's true. Now, we'll go into exactly what that means for the market and everything that we're looking at. So we're going to be paying close attention to that. But the first thing we're going to do is just zoom out and we're going to look at all the key levels here on NQ and what's happening overall. So again, NQ, if you want to see your levels, take a screenshot right now so you can see exactly where these levels are. Again, you're respecting them almost perfectly, right? Over and over and over as we just trend back and forth. You're getting no real direction. We look at the 4-hour chart. You can see we're kind of just ranging since the past, going back to February 12th, steadily making higher highs and higher lows, but still, that's where we're at right now. ES as well, you made higher highs, Monday, and now we're kind of here again. Now, this is our major level here as well as we zoom in. 5107, that's where you want to hold above. I've highlighted it plenty of times, and you're still holding above that. So I will say that ES still looks relatively strong. Some decent candles here as well, holding us above those levels. So at the end of the day, it wasn't necessarily terrible. It could have been worse. Okay. So that's the one thing that I want to keep us in the back of our heads. Now, a few other things. Now, IWM still sitting at 205. There's nothing really crazy. The DXY, the dollar, and what's happening with yields. This is interesting. The dollar from Powell speaking, and I anticipated this, that we would see the yields and the dollar show a lot of weakness over the next 24 hours, and they are. The dollar breaking the 200 SMA and pushing back down to the bottom, or back into our range overall. And this is where things get even more interesting. The 30-year yields pushing back to the middle part of our range here, 4.2. Now, again, I've said this plenty of times. Yields below 4% would be the most bullish case scenario for the market as a whole. It would almost be like a shove chips all-in moment for myself. So again, that's what I'm looking and watching for here. Bitcoin as well. You get back above 64K. We mentioned this in the video yesterday. You're bullish. You're getting back up into highs. You look fine. So overall, actually, I want one more thing. Oil is still kind of rough, in a rough situation, kind of trending sideways around the 200 SMA, but still above that area, so you still look interesting, but you're getting rejected in your 81. That's the only bad thing right now, and we'll go into that here in a second as well. But overall, the market doesn't look terrible. I hate the area that we're at because there's so many levels, and we're just basically basing and just moving in a sideways action. That isn't good. I agree, that's not good. But things could be worse. I will say that right now, things could be far worse, and you're holding up overall. Now we go into some of the equities and you'll see that those names are showing a lot of continuation. We go into SPY, and again, things aren't really concerning here. You didn't even fill the gap to the downside today. You held up so well. We go over and look at data also here, and you get a better look at this. And again, what do we know? Mondays, Tuesday, Wednesdays are typically less volume. We go into Yahoo Finance, look at our volume overall here, and again, we're not, it's lackluster, but still, even with the sell, and this is the interesting part. When sellers step in, the volume hasn't been telling. You don't need to have crazy volume, but I do believe volume on a reversal typically does rise. Reversals, you tend to get a little bit of a spike, and you're not getting that. So we're coming in line with our expectations, and Wednesday's volume was really lackluster in comparison to Tuesday. So going into Thursday, I want to see how we react to this, especially to these Fed comments here at the end of the session and end of the day. That was concerning. So I want to see what changes overnight and if there is a change overall. If we're just going to kind of ignore Kashkari's statements, or is this going to have a direct effect? And if we're going to have more comments on this, will be very important. So that's ultimately what's happening right now. Before we go too far into anything else, we go into equities. I just want to say, we got a lot of the action we wanted today. We anticipated yesterday that we have some selling, and then after hours, we get some love, and you bounce back, and basically from market open to Powell speaking in Congress, you get upside, and you got it. And then you started seeing selling middle of the day. In my opinion, there was no real news besides the reverse repo that pushed you down. There is a lot of anticipation of what's happening with the jobs report data that comes out on Friday. That's going to be important. But other than that, there's not too much out there right now. So I do want to say that you do have CPI and PPI next week. That will be influential. We'll need to be paying close attention because the week after this coming week, so the 20th, is going to be actually the next Fed meeting. So again, there's a lot of stuff that's building up. But as of right now, that's what we're looking at where we're at. VIX has stagnated as well at $13, $14. So I don't expect too much volatility to the upside. Would be shocking if we do get that type of action. But overall, that's where we're at. Just stair stepping, gradually moving up. And again, I want to highlight, what we're looking at too, is you're not seeing the continuation from sellers. When we get the push to the upside, it's making higher lows and higher highs and continuation. But for the downside, it hasn't been that. It's you get some momentum to the downside and then buyers just step back in. Now, is that the healthiest movement? I'm not going to say that. But what I will say is it's very clear that things aren't strong necessarily from the sell side as it is for the buy side. Now, if we start making lower lows, I would love to flip my thesis and I would love to trade the downside. But as of right now, I can't. And if you want to see the data that's coming in here on SPY, I will say the link is down below for Edgeful. Check them out. And the last thing I do want to cover here is going to be the green days versus red days. Wednesdays and Tuesdays tend to be our red days. Thursdays have been one of the best days for green days. So I'm definitely keeping all hands on deck and trying to see if buyers are going to step back into the market tomorrow. It's been one of the better days, and it's definitely led into a strong end of the week close. But again, there's a lot of pressure going into what's happening with this jobs data. And the Fed kind of said today as well that in order, for to cut rates, they need to see more pressure on that jobs data. I'm trying to pull it up for you right here. I'm trying to find it really quick. We have this right here out of UBS as well. U.S. employment rate would have to rise significantly in Friday's jobs report to shift the current view of the Fed's current view. They need to see confirmation that inflation is getting back to 2% target before cutting rates, which they've already talked about a lot. So it's unlikely they're going to change any viewpoint of cutting rates or anything like that until we start to see something give. And the market's moving to healthy, employment's healthy, everything's healthy right now. So there's no reason for them to cut right now. And again, earliest seems to be middle of summer. So that's what we're looking at there. Now we'll go quickly into equities. Equities moved very good overnight. NVIDIA overall, you moved into new highs. You almost got a push into 900 here. Great trade on the day as well with the ascending triangle. You ended up breaking up into $10. So that was nice there. Meta, I wanted to trade Meta all day long. You just could not mount the VWAP. That was the only thing I was looking for. I literally signaled it out 4 times. If you mount VWAP, go long. You never could mount. So that was the only thing there. But again, if Meta can hold above 494 and stay above VWAP, I think you look great. So again, going into tomorrow, all you're looking for here on Meta is get above VWAP. You get some push into 503 and then maybe all-time highs. If you get below 494, you're looking for 491, then 488. Easy there. Hood looking really good, trying to get back above 16.5. I like what I'm seeing here. It's a long dated name, long-term name I'm looking at. Again, 2025 is what I'm looking at there. Tesla inherently weak, came back near our key level on 205, 206, rejected. Also, too, guys, you'll always see the volume indicator, and sometimes I forget to mention it, right? And you'll also see what we're mentioning here with the Lux Algo supply and demand levels as well. I use a lot of these for day trading and scalping, so sometimes I just take them off so it looks a little cluttered for me, for you guys, but you can see here as well. Again, this link is down below if you're interested to get 20-30% off when you use our link, so make sure you check them out. That is down below also. But yeah, so going a little bit further, Apple continued weakness. Obviously nothing going on here. If the markets are showing weakness, I want to focus on Tesla and Apple for downside. Okay, I want to highlight that as well. Sometimes we get a little bit off and we sometimes don't focus on the things we need to focus on. So I want to say that right now as well. When you're looking at downside, if we're starting to get downside on NQ, ES, etc., I'm going to go short on the weak names. Apple, Tesla, those names have shown nothing but weakness. I'm not going to try to short NVIDIA. That would be crazy. So make sure you understand that. Next level here is around 166, 165. Okay, Netflix, another big name here. Again, we talked about it yesterday. If you get the hold amount at 593, it's good into 605. Well, you had that push here. You actually ended up testing it early this morning. You also made a little bit of a demand level and shot back up to 605. Great trade opportunity there. Above 605, push back into highs. You look good under 593. You're looking to push back down to 589, back into 575. Going a little bit further as well. We already covered NVIDIA. Just need to continue my highs. NVIDIA is incredibly strong. Understand that. Another big thing out of NVIDIA is this right here. So you can see. So they actually get their credit rating upgraded. You've seen upgrades on the overall stock and price target. They had their credit rating increased from, like, I think BAA3 to A1. Pretty wild. Pretty wild. So not only are they a great company, but they're like, yeah, just that thing's safe. It's getting, while the US market is getting downgraded by Fitch, NVIDIA's credit is getting increased. Hilarious. So yeah, AMD, again, you look very good. You're holding, making higher lows as well, trying to get the break to the upside. Again, really nice action in what you're seeing here. You're seeing a little bit of a little pennant kind of form out here. Again, this is exactly what you love to see. You're kind of seeing that pennant form out here. You want to see if you can get a hold, get above 213.5. Over 213.5, you're probably pushing back into highs. Really, the level, if you want to get a little bit more aggressive, as long as you hold above 211, you're pretty bullish in my opinion as well. So watch that. If you start breaking down, watch for 202, 200 as well. Pan W, told you guys about this one yesterday. 297 and below, you're bearish and you're pushing down. You opened up at 297, you broke down. Easy trade there as well. Coinbase, I'm liking this thing a lot. Mentioned it yesterday. You push back into highs, you're trying to break back out. Personally, I think Coinbase is going to be making a run for 270 sooner than later. I'm very bullish on Coinbase. I like what they're doing, and I don't think crypto is done running. So definitely keep your eyes open on crypto. A lot of opportunity here. Again, MicroStrategy, it's already broken all-time highs. It's already gone like crazy. And it just wants, and I think MicroStrategy is going to keep running as well. So if you're interested in crypto, those are your names you got to be watching easily right now. Okay. Amazon, you got back below 175.4. You push down to the next level, 173.5. Under 173.5, I'm looking for 171. Simple as that. AVGO has earnings tomorrow, so keep your eye out on that for semiconductors. Could be very interesting. But those are the names I'm really watching. Really real quick recap on Target. I mentioned this one a few days ago. I remember, and again, like it is what it is. I mentioned it at 150.4. I said over that it's a long into 156, and then after that you went to 168, and then you're trying to get above the 200 SMA right now. I'm telling you right now, Target above the 200 SMA for me is a long-term buy. You can go leaps in the money, whatever you want to do. It's a huge opportunity. They are killing it right now. Their earnings were fantastic. They're going to the subscription model, and it's going to kill it. I like what Target's doing. Keep them on top of your watches. Over the 200 SMA on the weekly. Incredibly, incredibly bullish. That's what we're looking at today. That's my favorite stocks. If you have questions, comment down below. Keep you guys updated. See you guys tomorrow.